Welcome back to the deep dive. It is January 17th, 2026. I was just looking at my calendar this morning and, realizing we are fully settled into the new year, and it just hit me.
Yeah.
We aren't just in a new year. I think we're firmly in a new era of how we actually, get things done.
It really does feel that way. I mean, the pace has picked up so much in just the last 6 months.
And that is exactly what we are digging into today.
Right.
We're not talking about a faster chip or like a better screen.
No.
We are talking about a specific moment in tech history where the computer, well, it sort of grabbed the mouse back from us.
That is a very vivid way to put it. A little unsettling, maybe.
But it's accurate, isn't it?
Right.
We're discussing ChatGPT Agent Mode.
Right.
And before anyone tunes out thinking, okay, another chatbot update, big deal, our research shows this is different.
It is.
This isn't asking for a smoothie recipe. This is handing over the keys to the browser.
It's the difference between a counselor and an employee. I think that's the core distinction we need to make right up front.
A counselor and an employee. Explain that.
Well, for years, we've had these smart counselors. You ask a question, they give you advice. But what we're looking at today are autonomous assistants. You give a goal, and they do the work.
So the mission for our deep dive is pretty clear then. We've got a huge stack of sources here, breakdowns, technical docs, and some really wild user case studies. We need to figure out, is this actually useful or is it just a novelty? And if it is useful, what does that mean for my privacy when an AI is clicking around my digital life?
And the privacy question is huge. But we should probably start with the what. Because if you haven't seen this in action, it's actually pretty hard to visualize.
Okay, let's do that. Set the scene for us. It's January 2026. How did we even get here? It feels like just yesterday we were impressed that it could write a poem.
It moved really fast. I mean, if you look at the timeline in our source material, the real precursor was early 2025. OpenAI launched this experiment called Operator.
Operator, I remember that.
Yeah, it was a little clunky. It was separate from the main chat. It was the first time we saw their model controlling a web browser visually.
Wait, pause there. Visually, you don't mean just reading the code behind the website, like the HTML.
No. And that is a critical technical detail. It explains why this works now when other things didn't. It was looking at the screen almost exactly like a human does.
So it sees buttons, search bars.
Exactly. It identifies them based on pixels and layout, not just the code.
Why does that matter so much? Wouldn't reading the code be cleaner or faster?
You'd think so, but the web is just messy. It's built for human eyes, not for robots.
Right. Pop-ups, weird layouts.
All of that. And those prove you're human tests. By making the AI see the page, it can handle all that dynamic stuff much better. So Operator proved the concept. Then, July 2025, the big shift happened.
That's when they brought it into the main app.
Exactly. They integrated these capabilities directly into ChatGPT. So as of today, if you're a paid user, it's there. It's a standard feature.
Okay, so let's pop the hood then. You said it sees. What else is in this toolkit? Because if I'm going to trust this thing, I want to know what it's working with.
Right. Think of it as a brain and a set of hands. The brain is the O series models O1 and O3, the reasoning models.
The ones that take that long pause before answering.
Exactly. They're thinking. That's crucial for complex tasks. But the hands are the agent capabilities. So you've got the visual browser we mentioned.
Okay.
It also has a text browser for speed, for when it needs to read a lot of dense text quickly, and a terminal to write and execute its own code.
That sounds like a full developer's toolkit.
It basically is. And maybe most importantly for anyone listening, it has connectors.
Connectors. That sounds innocent enough.
It means it has hooks into your digital life. It's not in a sandbox anymore. It can plug directly into your Google Calendar, your Gmail, your GitHub.
Okay, that's where it gets a little nerve-wracking for me. It's one thing to have a smart browser. It's another to have it reading my emails.
It is a valid concern, and we will get to the safety protocols because they are expensive. They have to be.
Yeah.
But just from a capability standpoint, this is the Swiss Army knife moment for AI.
All right, let's get practical. I'm a listener. I've got a subscription. How do I actually drive this thing? Do I need to learn to code?
Not at all. The barrier to entry is basically zero. Yeah. If you have Plus, Pro, Team, any of those, you just go to the site. You can click the little plus icon, or this is a shortcut. You just type agent in the chat bar.
/agent, like a command.
Yep, agent. That switches the mode. But the interaction flow is different from what you're used to. The source material calls it the safety sandwich.
The safety sandwich. I'm hoping that's a metaphor.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a metaphor for the loop. So the top slice of bread is your request.
Yeah.
You type in plain English, plan a trip to Colombia.
Okay, standard stuff so far.
But then it stops. It doesn't just start booking flights. It generates a plan. That's the meat of the sandwich.
Right.
It literally outlines its steps. Step 1, I will search these 3 sites. Step 2, I will compare these dates, and so on.
So I have to sign off on it.
You have to approve it. And the source emphasizes this is the most valuable moment.
Yeah.
You can edit the plan. You can say, no, don't check Expedia, check Skyscanner.
That's actually a huge relief. It's not just a black box. I get to see the strategy first.
Precisely. And once you hit approve, that's the bottom slice of bread, it goes into execution mode. And this can take anywhere from, say, 5 to 30 minutes.
Whoa, hang on. 30 minutes?
Yeah. It's doing real work. It's navigating pages, waiting for things to load, analyzing data.
That's a long time. Usually if a chatbot takes 10 seconds, I'm hitting refresh.
But you aren't waiting.
Oh.
That's the whole point. You go make coffee. You go walk the dog. You do what Cal Newport calls deep work. You've outsourced the grunt work.
I see the appeal, but if it takes 30 minutes, you really want to get that first request right. You don't want a typo sending it off to Columbia, South Carolina instead of Columbia, the country.
And that brings us to the pro tip of this deep dive. This comes from the heavy users in our source material.
Okay.
Because these models have usage limits, which we'll get to. You can't afford to waste a turn on a typo.
So what's the strategy?
The notepad strategy.
The notepad strategy, which is...
You never type your prompt directly into the chat box. You open a notepad app first, write your prompt there, refine it, add all the constraints, make it bulletproof, then you paste it into the agent.
Measure twice, cut once.
Exactly. A good prompt can save you 3 or 4 back and forths. And when you're on a limited plan, efficiency is currency.
That is solid advice. So speaking of value, let's talk about what people are actually doing with this. We have these case studies here, and I see a lot of them involve Colombia, which is a nice touch.
Yeah, the Cartagena trip example is a standout. It perfectly shows the complexity this thing can handle.
Walk us through it, because planning a trip is usually a nightmare of 15 open tabs.
So the user didn't just ask for hotels in Cartagena. They gave the agent a whole logic puzzle, a 5-day trip for 2. The budget was capped at 3.5 million Colombian pesos. Flights had to depart from Pasto specifically, and they wanted a boutique hotel and romantic activities.
That's tricky. You have to balance flight costs, check hotel availability, and then figure out what romantic even means to a database.
A human would take, what, 3 hours to do this properly?
Easily 3 hours, and you'd probably get frustrated and just book the first thing that fits.
Right. So the agent went to the travel sites. It used the visual browser to check real-time prices, not outdated training data. It found the flights from Pasto, calculated the remaining budget for the hotel, and presented a complete itinerary.
It's the difference between a search engine giving you 10 links and an assistant giving you a completed plan.
That's the shift right there. Search gave us information, agents give us decisions, or at least highly structured options for decisions.
Okay, that's personal life, but what about business? I feel like the return on investment is much clearer there.
Oh, absolutely. There's a great case study about an artisanal coffee startup in Nariño. They needed a competitor analysis.
Which is the most boring task in the world. I've done that. It's terrible.
It is so tedious. Going to websites, finding their pricing PDF, copy-pasting into a spreadsheet. It's mind-numbing.
So the agent just did it.
It identified 3 direct competitors, navigated their sites, extracted their pricing models, analyzed their branding. But here's the kicker.
Yeah.
It didn't just give a text summary. It created an 8-slide presentation.
Wait, it made the slides like a actual slide deck I can open.
It generated the slide structure and the content. You could download it.
Okay, that stops me in my tracks. Because now you're talking about a deliverable. If I have a meeting in an hour and the AI gives me a draft deck in 20 minutes, that changes my entire morning.
And that's where this 150 hours figure comes from.
150 hours? What's that?
The source notes that early adopters are estimating they save between 80 and 150 hours a month on these kinds of repetitive digital tasks.
150 hours is basically a full-time job. That's almost 4 weeks of work.
It is. It's like hiring a junior employee for the cost of a subscription.
Wow. Okay, but there's a third use case here that I think will hit home for everyone listening, the productivity savior.
Ah, yes, the Gmail audit.
This one scares me a little. My inbox is a disaster zone. I'm not sure I want anyone looking in there.
But the machine doesn't judge. In this case, the user asked the agent to audit the last 30 days of Gmail, find client complaints, categorize them, and then draft responses.
So it's acting like a customer service rep.
Exactly. Or another example was analyzing dollar price trends in Colombia for the week, versus last month, and then generating a Google Sheets comparison table.
So it does the research, the data entry, and the formatting.
Correct.
Okay, that all sounds incredible, but my skepticism radar is going off.
Yeah.
Nothing this good comes without a catch. What's the catch? Is it just the cost?
It's a mix of limits and safety. Let's talk limits first, because this brings us back down to earth. This kind of compute is expensive.
So we're not getting unlimited use.
Far from it. As of now, January 2026, if you're a Standard Plus user, you're capped at roughly 40 to 50 tasks per month.
50. That's almost nothing. That's less than 2 a day.
It's tight, which is why that notepad strategy is so important. You use this for the big, heavy tasks. Now, if you upgrade to Pro, the power user tier, that jumps to about 400 to 500 tasks.
Okay, that's a functional workflow. 500 tasks lets you actually rely on it.
It does, and a helpful clarification from the source. Usually only the initial request counts heavily against your limit. The clarifications and approvals during that safety sandwich phase, those are often cheaper or free.
Got it. Now let's pivot to the scary part, security. You mentioned connectors to my email. You mentioned booking flights. That means passwords, credit cards. What stops this thing from going rogue?
OpenAI has built a few distinct walls here. First, high-impact actions require explicit confirmation. It physically cannot click buy or send on something sensitive without you clicking a confirmation button in the chat.
So it can't drain my bank account while I'm sleeping.
Theoretically, no. It also has blocks on sensitive sites and monitors for prompt injection. But there's one feature that's the most critical for listeners to understand. It's called takeover mode.
Takeover mode. Sounds dramatic.
It solves the password problem. The golden rule is you never type your password into the chat.
Never. Not even if it asks.
Never. If the agent gets to a login screen, it will pause. It will ask you to use takeover mode. You click a button, and you are temporarily controlling the remote browser yourself. You type your password directly into the site, then you hand control back.
So the AI model never even sees the keystrokes for password 123.
Exactly. It keeps the keys to the kingdom in human hands.
That's a very smart design. And a necessary bridge, it feels like.
And just a quick privacy note from the source, unless you go into settings and opt out, your interactions and the screenshots the agent takes are used for training.
Ah. So if I'm analyzing confidential business strategy for my coffee shop,
you should turn off training. Go to settings, data controls, switch it off. It's a simple step, but a necessary one for professionals.
Good to know. So we've got the capabilities, we've got the limits. It's January 2026. Is this technology, done? Or are we still in the early buggy phase?
Oh, we are definitely still in the early adopter phase. The source material makes that very clear. It's not magic. It breaks. It gets stuck in loops sometimes.
So you still have to babysit it a bit.
You do. And the wish list for the rest of 2026 is long. Users are desperate for native desktop integration.
You mean controlling files on my actual computer?
Right. Moving files around, editing a video in Premiere, organizing your folders.
Yeah.
Right now, the agent lives in the browser. It can't touch your local C drive. That's the next frontier.
And I imagine people want it to connect to more apps, too.
Absolutely. The source mentions everyday stuff, Spotify, Uber, regional apps like Rappi, banking apps like Bank Colombia. People wanted to manage their whole digital life.
It feels like the race is on. I know Google has Jarvis, Anthropic has Claude.
It is a massive arms race. Google, Anthropic, xAI, they are all fighting to provide your digital employee. Because once you train an agent on your workflow, you're not likely to switch.
So let's wrap this up. We're looking at a world where, for the price of Netflix, I can save 150 hours of work a month. I can have a machine do the research, the planning, the slide making.
It's a massive productivity unlock. There's no denying that.
But here's the question that's been lingering for me. If the AI is doing the process, the clicking, the scrolling, the synthesizing, what's left for us to do?
That is the provocative question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are we moving to a future where human work is purely strategy and approval? Do we just become managers of digital agents?
The approvers. We just sit there and say yes, no, edit.
And if that's the case, do we lose something? If you stop building your own slides, do you lose the knack for structuring a narrative? If you stop booking your own travel, do you lose the ability to spot a bad deal?
It's the GPS effect. We stopped looking at maps, and now we can't navigate our own hometowns without a little blue line telling us where to turn.
Exactly. We might gain an enormous amount of time, but we might lose a certain layer of competency. We could lose the feel for the work.
Use it or lose it. That is definitely something to chew on while you wait that 30 minutes for your agent to plan your next vacation.
Indeed. Maybe the perfect time to read a book on map reading.
Well, that's our deep dive for today. If you're feeling brave, go type agent and see what happens. Just remember the golden rule.
No passwords in the chat.
No passwords in the chat. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you in the next one. Stay curious.